I'm State Representative Ryan Aument, and welcome to the program today. We are at the Thaddeus Stevens College of Technology today, a real gem here in the heart of Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. In just a moment, we're going to go inside and we're going to meet with the president here, President William Griscom, and then we're going to go on a short tour. I think you're going to enjoy the program. We're now here in the office of Dr. William Griscom. Dr. Griscom, thank you for giving us a little bit of time here today.
My pleasure.
It's a privilege for me to be here. Could you talk a little bit about the college, Thaddeus Stevens, for those who may not be as familiar with Thaddeus Stevens? Talk a little bit about the history and the mission here of the college.
Our founder was Thaddeus Stevens, and he founded this school for indigent orphans, and today we've expanded that to financially disadvantaged students so that they could get an education and change the circumstances of their lives. We're the only publicly owned two-year technical college in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. And we have tried to stick to the intent of our founder. We provide approximately 51% of our students a Stevens grant, which is their room, their board, $250 a semester for books and their tools. And if it wasn't for that Stevens grant, they would not be able to attend college. Many of them come from very difficult circumstances. We only admit Pennsylvania residents, and we are a residential institution. If you were to look at us and look at our campus on 32 acres, 18 buildings, and then we have a branch campus now, we look very much like a small four-year college. We have a number of different buildings. We're residential in nature. We're not open admission. We have admission requirements because of the nature of the programs. We have an extremely high placement rate. We've been doing this for 100 years. And there's incredible demand for students coming into our programs. This year we've had 3,300 applicants for about 500 openings, so we can only admit about 20% of those students. And we're graduating 60% of those students in 2 years, and we're placing well over 90% of them. We can't begin to meet the demand that's out there. And so, you know, again, our challenge essentially is to increase our capacity, because we have a lot of deserving citizens that could really benefit from this education, and certainly the economy, particularly manufacturing, really benefits from this type of graduate. There's an incredible shortage of skilled workers out there, and it's kind of a paradox that we have significant unemployment, especially among college graduates, yet at the same time we have all these really good, high-paying, strong benefit positions out there that industry can't fill. If I could give you an example, we just had a career fair a month ago, and this happens at every career fair. We filled 3 collegiate basketball courts up with employers, primarily from Pennsylvania. And I think, as I mentioned, we only admit Pennsylvania residents. I spent 2 hours out there talking to those companies. I talked to 30 high technology companies, all that were trying to recruit our 12 or 13 machine technology graduates. They have vacancies out there that they've had for over 2 years, and they can't fill those positions. So their question to me is, how are we supposed to compete in a global economy if we don't have the only sustainable competitive advantage which is available to us, which is our workforce? If you're competing in a global economy, many of the things are the same. The cost of transportation, utilities, if anything, we're at a competitive disadvantage in some of those areas, particularly with the cost of labor. So the only way that our companies can compete successfully, and they do, is by the creativity, the innovativeness, and the productivity of their workforce. We talk to companies every day, and that's what they're just desperate for. We just had a company give us $1 million toward an expansion that we're trying to do, because they know that they depend on us for workforce. It's a local company. It's Griner Industries. Frank Griner made a commitment of $1 million to help us acquire actually the facility that I have right here behind us, which will allow us to rapidly expand and double the number of our programs and produce more machinists, more metal fabricators, more welders.
I'd like to get into the capacity and certainly the role that Thaddeus Stevens can play in preparing, training the workforce. Can you talk a little bit about some of the more popular programs, existing programs that you have here at Thaddeus Stevens, and ideally where you see expanding those programs, in which areas you see expanding those programs in the future?
There is some difference, but it's not a major difference, because we're very sensitive to that. I don't care what programs we have here in one respect, in the sense that the programs perform a function for us. We're trying to provide students who have experienced some very difficult things and certainly have financial disadvantage and are under-resourced in a number of areas. The programs are here to provide them with a means of changing their lives, to allow them to become productive citizens, break the cycle of poverty, give something back to their community. So I will only have programs here where when they graduate, they're going to get a job and have a sustainable wage and be able to move forward and do the things that are in our mission. So we discontinue programs that don't meet that criteria, and we don't start programs where they're not going to be able to to get employment. We're not going to have criminal justice here. We're not going to have child care here. Because we know that either there's not jobs there or the jobs are at very low compensation. So that doesn't work for us. Some programs are in more demand than others. The economy changes. So right now, carpentry is a little softer because of residential construction, but we're addressing that by creating a renovation program. But our other programs pretty much across the board are very strong in terms of the demand for the programs and also the demand for the graduates. Probably at the very top of the list is machine technology or machine and tool types of jobs. HVAC, plumbing, metal fabrication, and welding. They're just incredible appetite for those programs. But automotive technology, our electrical program's another one where we're doubling the size of the program next year, and we've already could offer a third class in the evening, which we have been doing. We may do that again. But a tremendous demand for those graduates in a variety of industries. Marcellus Shale is having an impact because it's just putting a demand even a greater. Then the other thing that's out there that's really frightening, we just had a community advisory council meeting. We have companies from the region, significant companies, come in and meet with us twice a year, and we get input from them. We have a brainstorming session for every time that we have these meetings. And one of the things that they're saying is they just are really concerned about the number of skilled people that they have that are at retirement age. There's huge numbers. Sometimes 50% of their workforce is almost eligible for retirement. So if you couple the fact that they can't get the workers that they need and they can't expand, and then you add to that 50% of their skilled workforce could retire and have been holding off because of the economy, that is a cataclysmic situation for manufacturing and for economic growth. So again, to me, that just compounds the need to increase the capacity of this institution.
Yeah. It's interesting hearing you talk. While at the same time across the country, we really have a crisis of unemployment and underemployment among young people, college graduates who in many cases are graduating after 4, perhaps more years of college with massive amounts of debt, and they're going out of the workforce and they can't find a job because their academic major perhaps was not aligned to the realities of the economy today. And you think of the long-term social and economic impact of this. These are young people that are delaying buying homes, building homes, starting families. And it certainly seems to me that Thaddeus Stevens is at least for many kids, is a potential answer to this challenge. It's certainly not the answer for all students, but I think for a number of kids coming out of high school, this is a viable option for them. And so again, what's limiting your ability to accept more students here, and is certainly not what's happening in the workforce. What's limiting your ability to accept more students is simply your size and the resources that you have here. Do I understand that correctly?
That's absolutely correct. And the basis of competition today is not what it should be, in my opinion. Many colleges and universities are competing on the basis of amenities. The residence life, they have apartments, they have their own restrooms, they don't have dining halls, they have cafes, and they have essentially restaurants. We have climbing walls, we have athletic teams, we have social activities, and these are wonderful things, but these students really aren't going on vacation. They're going to get an education. And those types of things, if we're going to compete for students on manicured campuses and all these other types of things, then we're creating cost drivers, and that's why you see this exponential one of the primary cost drivers for this increase in the cost of higher education. That shouldn't be how we're competing for students. We should be competing for students based on performance. Any prospective student and their parents should be able to go to your website, as they can with ours, and they should be able to take a look at a particular program that they're interested in and find out, of the students who started this program, how many of them graduated? Of those that graduated, how many got jobs in their fields? What were the salary ranges of those students? What was their average student loan debt? What was the student satisfaction with the program? What were the employer's satisfaction with the program? And how did those graduates do out at 5 years and 10 years? And I would suggest to you that the market will work. The market will work. Just Jefferson said, democracy presumes an informed electorate. Democracy works if you have informed citizens. Mm-hmm. And the market will work here if you have informed consumers. But I wouldn't say this information is being hidden, but it's not available, and there's no reason why it's not available. It should be made available. And I would suggest that if a student and a parent were looking at a program and said, geez, only 20% of those students graduate, and only 5% of those students get jobs in their field, and their average debt is $45,000 or $50,000, regardless of what the amenities were, they would make a different decision.
Well, thank you. I'd love to take a tour.
I'd like to introduce you to your two tour guides today, both alumni of the institution, Alex Monroe, who's the executive director of our Alumni Association and Foundation, and Joe Wysock, who's a graduate of our carpentry program and is a local project director with a construction company.
All right, we're here on the first stop of our tour. I'm here with Alex Monroe. Alex, if you could introduce yourself and tell us what you do here at the college.
Well, my name is Alex Monroe, and I'm the executive director of the Thaddeus Stevens Foundation and the Thaddeus Stevens Alumni Association, and I also handle the governmental affairs for the college under a different hat. And I'm proud to bring you into this program here. This is machine technology, and this is our professor, Mr. Ron Schwartz. Ron?
Ron, thank you for allowing us to visit here today. If you could tell me a little bit about this specific program, the students that are here, and really like to get into what are the jobs prospects for these young men and women who may be part of this particular program.
Right. The name of the program is Machine Tool and Computer-Aided Manufacturing. The job prospects in this field right now are excellent. Our students have 4 and 5 jobs to pick from, literally. I often tell people that finding a job is not a problem for us. It's choosing which job you want. And as ridiculous as that sounds in the current economy, it's true. And our major problem is actually recruiting students into the field. Employment is not our issue. Recruitment is our issue. The word manufacturing has become, has a bad ring to it. People think of outsourcing and so forth. But the fact remains, or the facts are, that a lot of manufacturing has stayed here. But it's very high tech, very high skill. The technology has changed so that you can no longer just graduate from high school and find a high-paying job in manufacturing. There's very specific skills that are needed. Because of that, our students that are gaining these skills here at the college, they've become very valuable. The law of supply and demand has actually started to kick in for these young people, and the wages are increasing. And we have companies, quite literally 50 to 60 companies a year, trying to recruit 12 to 15 graduates. So the students who choose to get into this field are making a very, very good decision.
In many cases, as I understand, these are Lancaster County jobs, these are Pennsylvania jobs. What are the salary expectations for a student that graduates from this program?
Right. Yeah, we at Stevens College, all of our students are from Pennsylvania. I would say in the machining program, 75 to 80% of our students are from Lancaster County. The jobs are, I'd say, a major portion of them are from Lancaster, 75%, 80%. The starting wages are anywhere from $45,000 to $60,000 a year. And I also like to point out that these are traditional manufacturing jobs. And what I mean by that is you're getting that salary, but you're also getting paid health insurance, you're getting paid vacation, and things of that nature, things that have disappeared in a lot of other careers. So it's a very good field.
I think many of the viewers may be surprised what this industry looks like today, that the machinists of today and the skill set required varies a great deal from what someone may have experienced or seen 10, 20 years ago. Can you talk a little bit about technology in this industry and how the technology has changed this industry? I know we have a piece of equipment here you may want to show us.
Right, sure. There's a big disconnect between the public's perception of machining and in reality. Technology's come to the point now where a lot of what we do is actually working with computers, very high-tech software. We use some of the most sophisticated software in the world. The machinery we use is some of the most sophisticated equipment in the world. You have to have some kind of computer ability or the ability to work with computers, and you have to have a mechanical aptitude.
Final question here before we have to move on. Can you kind of, as an example of that, explain what this particular piece of equipment does?
This machine, for example, is a good example of how technology has advanced. 20 or 30 years ago, especially in the die making industry, producing simple things that you would think are simple, like a square hole, was very difficult to do. There were certain steps you had to go through to produce that. This machine here is called a wire EDM. EDM is an abbreviation for electrical discharge machining. The way this particular machine works is there is a brass wire. It's a 10 thousandths diameter brass wire. That's 0.01. And it works very much like a bandsaw would work. Most people are familiar with a bandsaw. The wire will cut anything that conducts electricity. Primarily what we're cutting is steel and aluminum. The wire never actually touches the material. A spark will jump between the wire and the material, and that spark actually erodes the material away. It doesn't actually cut it, it just erodes it away. We can produce very precise parts, very smooth finishes. They're very accurate, and it's just one example of how technology has really advanced. This machine did not exist 20 years ago.
Well, thank you, Ron. I appreciate it. We're going to, I think, take the next stop on the tour. Alex, can you tell us where we're going to go next?
We're going to head down to automotive technology, and I want to thank you, Ron. We appreciate the interview.
We're here on our next stop on the tour here at Thaddeus Stevens College. Alex, can you tell us where we are right now and take it from here?
Thank you, Representative Aument. Right now we're in automotive technology, and our instructor here is Marty Christian, and he'll be happy and proud to explain his program and show you the enthusiasm amongst his students here. It's a great place. I mean, working on these the automobiles today is the old shade tree mechanic is gone, and the new technology is here, and Marty teaches that. Marty?
How you doing?
Doing great.
Good
Thanks,
morning.
Marty. Thanks for your time.
The program itself starts off with students at entry level. We don't necessarily have to have a person with a high mechanical background, but we will start entry level. So we can take a person that has previous experience and add to that previous experience and build that. And what we're looking to do is we're looking to get a technician or a student to become a technician to be entry level employable. Go out, get a job, be able to sustain their way of life, have a family, and obviously work in the community and support the community itself. What we're doing today is we're doing individual component rebuilds. We have the actual manual transmissions that are out of vehicles. We have differentials that are out of vehicles, and we're building those and putting them together as if the component was taken out of the car. Behind us, we have a young lady working. Good opportunity for young women as well as for men. She's rebuilding a manual transmission, so it's a lot of step-by-step procedure, a lot of thinking through a problem and solving that problem through different information that's available. The program itself, we start out basically safety, making sure that students are safe. They learn the basics as far as what's going to be involved in the automotive industry, so they're not coming into the program thinking that it's going to be something that it's not. We have a lot of opportunity for students. I get constantly emailed from people in the community, calls from them looking for people for employment, whether it be part-time, full-time, internships. And we are starting out now. I have numerous students that are starting out around the $25,000 to $30,000 bracket per year, and there's even opportunities up closer to $40,000, depending upon what route they're going to take and they're going to actually pursue as far as their discipline. And you can specialize or you can generalize. You can go into it as a general tech and work on just about anything, or you can actually go and specialize and be maybe an automatic transmission tech, a drivability tech, depending upon where you want to go.
On our last stop on the tour, we talked quite a bit about how technology has changed the industry. I suspect this industry also has changed pretty dramatically in the last 10, 20 years. Can you talk a little bit about that, the technological aspects of how this job is
20 years ago, computers were just starting to get introduced. Now it's computers are everyday life. We have to now not only sit down and take the computers that are in the cars, but we have to take personal information as far as computer-wise. Laptops, they can link into cars. iPads are now becoming an issue where you can plug them into your dashboard and link them together. So you're constantly changing with what's actually out there. Bluetooth capabilities, that's all in the vehicles now for hands-free communication, so you have to be able to work on that kind of stuff. So it's a laptop that used to be the day where you plugged a scan tool in is now where you're plugging a laptop into the car to repair it. Most scan tools are laptop-based, and a lot of people are carrying around their own little personal computers in their hands. All the higher-end cars are starting out with them actually linking with their personal information and their radio stations, their contacts, whatever it may be that they do with their own iPhone, iPad. It's all going into the cars now, so you have to be able to repair that. So a lot of technology involved with it.
I understand, Marty, that you have a student here with us that you'd like to introduce that we have the opportunity to talk to.
Yes, definitely. I'd like to introduce Ben Keever. He's a second-year student here at Thaddeus Stevens Automotive.
Nice to meet you.
Seeing you.
Ben, if you could, tell me a little bit about yourself and why you chose to come here to Thaddeus Stevens in this particular program.
Why I chose to be here was I've always loved auto mechanics. As long as I can remember, I've always loved working on cars. One of the reasons why I came, actually there are a couple reasons why I came here, is reputation. That's all you hear about is Thaddeus Stevens in this area. Second one, the Stevens grant. I mean, that was great. That was another reason why I decided to come here as well. And location. I mean, there's so many jobs in this area. It's incredible.
Speaking of jobs, what are your plans after you graduate? What do you hope to do?
My plans are to get into a shop and get my feet wet, basically. I would love to own my own shop one day, but you gotta start somewhere.
Yeah. Excellent. Well, thank you so much for your time. I wish you the best through the program here. All right, Alex, we're on our next stop of the tour. Can you tell us where we are now?
This is carpentry technology, and our instructor here is Dan Knoll, and he handles first year students. And Dan can explain his program to you. Dan?
Thanks for being here, Dan. Can you talk a little bit about the program here?
Yes, I want to thank you for being here today, Representative Aument. In the carpentry technology program, we bring in students with some of them have some experience already, but then there's guys that don't even know how to read a tape measure. So we've got to get all of them and keep them all up to speed and keep challenging the ones that have some experience. And we train them to basically take any facet of the house, any building that we build, mostly residential, and we train them to do any facet, not just a carpenter, but a master craftsman. That's really what we're trying to get to.
On a few of our other stops, we've talked quite a bit about the employment prospect for students in the various industries. Can you talk a little bit about that? What is the experience of your students, past graduates going into industry? What are the job prospects in this particular carpentry industry?
Well, as you probably know, it's been, the job prospects have been lower because of the economy, but even with our students, they've always seemed to be able to get jobs no matter how the economy was. And we can always support them, try to get them towards certain companies that are interested in our students. I know there's a lot of companies that hire our students, and they are very happy with the students that they receive from us, and they keep hiring from our class of students each year. There's off campus, there's been land donated by some alumni that alumnus people that we build a duplex on every year, and that gets sold. So there's a realtor involved, there's inspections involved, and there's nothing closer than the real deal. You got to fight the weather. It's we can't get any better than that.
I understand we have a student here that you'd like to introduce us to that we can talk to.
Yeah, Dustin Bird's doing very well this year. I'd like to introduce you, and you can ask him a few questions.
Hey, Dustin, how are you? If you could tell us a little bit about yourself, how did you end up at Thaddeus Stevens?
Well, my high school teacher was real good in the trade, carpentry, and he knew this school. A couple of students from the school, my high school, have come down here before me, and he recommended me to come down here, so I thought I'll come down, take a visit, and took a tour. Really liked it here. It looked good. There's a lot of trades down here, and I decided carpentry would be the way to go. So that's how I came down here, and I don't regret it. It's a nice school down here. Learn everything.
Good. What do you hope to do after you graduate?
I hope to maybe work for the labor union, like up at the carpentry union up in Lebanon, or work for a big company around here like Orful or something like that. So I'm hoping to get a good job, but get good grades here first too.
Good. Well, thanks, Dustin. Nice meeting you. I appreciate your time. Thank you. Well, we're nearly out of time, and so I'm here with Alex Monroe. Alex, can you introduce us here to our final stop on the tour today?
Well, we're standing in the laboratory of electrical technology, and this is our instructor, Ray Buckwalter. And Ray will be happy to explain his program here. Ray?
Hello. This is electrical technology, and what we do here is train students to rewarding jobs. There's companies like Alcoa and Donnelly and other companies that need good qualified electricians to keep their plants running, and so they're sought after. We're doubling our program next year because of the huge demand for our students, and also students wanting to come here because so utilities also, construction electricians, these are all areas that we focus on. We're primarily, I guess, focused on industrial technology, and that's
now, this is it's a 2-year program. How many students do you have that are part of the program? Can you kind of go through what the first and second year of an electrical program would look like?
Sure. The first year electrical program, there's 25 that we take in every year. We have boards in the back that the students would do residential circuits because they're good introductory program. We do conduit bending and commercial type electrical next. By the end of the first year, they're doing projects such as PLCs and motor controls, and then we pick up on that in the second year, do industrial electronics. We do PLCs, which is a computerized manufacturing need, and then we do motors and generators. We got companies that are steel mills that are using big DC motors, and so DC theory as well as AC drives, and the electronics has really made those motors more popular. So there's a lot to cover in 2 years, and our students go all kinds of different places, and so we are busy in 2 years to get it all covered.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Ray. Appreciate your time. And Alex, this comes to the end of our tour. We appreciate your time today. And if folks have any additional questions about anything they've seen today or any questions about Thaddeus Stevens, how can they get in touch with the college, or where can they go for additional information?
Okay. Well, first of all, I'd like to thank you, Representative Aument, for taking the time to come down and tour the campus. And we're really proud of what we do here. 108 years of experience changing the lives of young people through technical education. And we're certainly open for visitors and those who need additional information. You may you can call me at 295-9666, or you can, my email address is amunro, A-M-U-N-R-O, at stevenscollege.edu.
Before we leave here today, I want to introduce our viewers to Joe Wysock. Joe is an alumnus here at Thaddeus Stevens and is also a member of the Board of Governors. Joe helped arrange the tour here today. And Joe, tell us a little bit about what you're doing today and how did Thaddeus Stevens prepare you for your career?
Yes, I graduated here in 2006 for carpentry, and I went on to Penn College for construction management. But you know, the skill sets that I learned here were just amazing. The teachers, the staff, they put a lot of time into helping me grow and just become professional, and they keep helping me along the way as I try and succeed in you know, the construction industry. So now, after I graduate from Penn College, I'm with Benchmark as assistant project manager. I do a lot of work in the area, and you know, I just want to give back for, you know, everything that the college put, you know, into me. So.
Well, thank you, Joe. Thank you for arranging the tour here today, and wish you all the best with Benchmark in the years to come.
Yes, thank you.
To our viewers, this concludes our program here today. If you have any questions, feel free to contact my district office at 295-5050. Be sure to visit us on the web at www.repaument.com. Thank you, and have a great day.